morning, guys. So we have 150 acres of beans to go, and they are all over at the river. There's a 69 acre field over there that we call the middle, and an 85 acre field that we call the church. I'm headed over there right now with the green truck and the seed tender with 2 boxes of 28A42s in there. And later today, I'm gonna switch to 27A17s. Hopefully, I can get across all those today. If not, it'll be pretty darn close. And we can hopefully possibly get done with beans today. On Sunday, on Mother's Day, we ended up getting a couple tenths of rain. We probably could have drilled these beans yesterday, at least just on the high ground. The low ground, we probably would have had to wait till today. But we figured it'd just be easier just to wait till today and see about how many acres I can get across today, if not all of them. And if anything, I'll have to finish up tomorrow. They are talking rain towards the end of the week, pretty much starting Thursday and going through Sunday. Our first planted beans on April, what would have been, 24th, 25th? You guys will have to fact check me on that. But on April 24th or 25th, our first planted beans are just getting ready to come up. They probably will be coming up today, if not first thing tomorrow. And we'll probably have corn up probably towards the end of the week as temps warm up here, because it's actually supposed to warm up starting on Thursday up into the 60s and close to the 70s, but we're supposed to have rain through Sunday. If you didn't watch the video, we actually finished corn up on Saturday evening. And I would say planting progress in LaPorte County right now, I would say we're at least 65%, if not close to 70%. Last week alone, we had a lot of crops go in. We had a decent stretch of weather. I mean, it wasn't like temps weren't ideal, but at least it was nice enough that we could get a lot of spraying done and a lot of planting done. Wipe the acres on the computer track here. Alright. Let's knock out 150 acres hopefully today. Well, we got our first breakdown with the drill here. So this wheel back here is the drive wheel for the meters across the drill. And these 2 shafts up here, this shaft runs 1 and 2, and this shaft over here runs 3 and 4. And we have a roll pin in here that is sheared off, causing this shaft not to turn, causing 1 and 2 here not to meter out any beans. So, of course, there's no roll pins in the truck. There's not a punch big enough to punch out that sheared off roll pin. And I've got Grandpa coming over here with a box of roll pins and a punch big enough to punch that out. And we'll be back up and running here in the next 20 minutes. All right, we are back in action drilling beans. So right here would be a good comparison to kind of show you guys the difference on this rye right here. This was sprayed up until right here. You can kind of see the difference in color here on the rye. This was sprayed a week ago. From here on up to the north here, Dad had a little bit left when he was spraying the corn ground, so he sprayed into this bean ground a little bit here. Where the rye was sprayed a week ago, it's actually rolling down for the most part really well. When I get out into the rye that Dad's actually spraying today, he's actually sprayed the church field up there, and he's on his way back now to fill up again to come spray this middle field here and finish this up. So when I get over here into this next round into this greener rye, or this live rye, because essentially this hasn't been terminated yet up until today, I'll show you guys the differences in how well the week-old rye versus the live rye rolls down with the drill, because this week-old rye is actually rolling down a little bit better with the drill than this live rye. Now, if this live rye was another foot taller, it would probably roll down a little bit better, but due to circumstances, we're not going to allow that to happen. In all honesty, we're just now spraying it today versus where we sprayed a week ago. It's actually doing just about as good of a job as what it was out in the rye that was a week old. So, in all honesty, this is actually doing overall really, really well. On the ends though, we did have a little bit thicker of a stand, so it didn't quite roll down as nice as what this is. So overall, this is actually going to work out really well. We've been doing this about 3 years now, 3-4 years now with the drill. We've been planting into cereal rye with the planter for about 6 or 7 years now. And it's been working out really, really well. Last year we actually planted into some stuff out here about waist high, if not chest high, out here with the drill and the planter, and that stuff rolled down really, really well. You have a service drain. You can actually see there's some water standing back there in it. Basically, we'll just plant right through it. I'll just slow down a little bit. We do the same thing with the corn planter when we plant corn out here. And it zigzags all the way across this field here, and you can kind of see it goes over into that other field there and makes its way across over to that stub ditch over there. And that stub ditch will go all the way up to another ditch that we call the pump ditch, and that pump ditch is kind of like an L, kind of like that. And if you can kind of see where that electric pole is, we've got a pump back there to help drain this farm essentially. This is basically what we've got out here. There are a couple tile lines out in that north field. I believe there might be a couple back over there. Well, Dad's back here. He's just getting started spraying on this. Once he catches up to me here, I'm gonna need to get beans anyways. I'll go and fill while he sprays and gets past me here, and I can keep on drilling. Dad, you started too early. What are you doing? My God. It's just like last year, except we don't have Kaiser out here spreading, and we don't have the planter going. I suppose I can laugh about it at this point. I had a little mishap with the drone. The drone like glitched on me and did a return to home even though it had 50% battery. I do a return to home setting at about 15% because that is the minimum amount of battery power needed to do a return to home. And I was literally driving the ends up here to get filled up with beans because Dad was just getting up to me, and next thing you know, did a return to home even though I was sitting there not flying at all, and took off into the swamp out there. and hit a tree and tumbled down in and fell on the floor out there. So Grandpa came out, and we spent about an hour out here walking around for it. And at about 35 minutes in, I went and grabbed the remote controller and thought, well, I'll look at the GPS coordinates, punch it in on my phone, and kind of walk out there and see if the GPS signal will pick me up out there as I'm walking out on the floor out there. And because I don't know how good the signal is with the tree, so I walked out there, and sure enough, it was able to find me. And I walked out there, and I'm like, okay, it shows it should be right there at my feet. And I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm like, well, it's got to be in the water then. And I turn and I look. We've walked past it probably a dozen times. It was laying there in the water, face up, so belly up. So at least all the components for this drone are on the belly of it, but the battery's toast because the battery was laying in the water, completely submerged. At least the gimbal was up out of the water because it was sitting in the water for probably about close to an hour by the time we found it. It's hard to tell. I mean, it could be toast. I know for the fact the battery is, but I can always send it in and get it repaired. Surprisingly, it seems the motors seem to be okay, but it's hard to tell at this point because I haven't tried it yet. I'm not going to try it till this evening after it's dried off and I blow all the gunk out of it and take it apart and see, basically assess the damage and find out if it's anything salvageable, if I can send it in and get it repaired, or repair it myself, or what all needs to be done. About an hour ago, you did not want to see what I had to say about that. This farm over here likes my drones for some reason. My Phantom 3 Pro that I had, my first drone, I crashed that in the river. That actually glitched on me too and did a return to home. And crashed that one, and it's probably down in Mississippi at this point. I crashed it again, that Phantom 3, before I lost it in the river over there on that road on the, I don't know, 2015, I think. And that was during the winter time that when I crashed that. I haven't crashed my Phantom 4. I've come close to it, put it that way, pretty darn close. I came real close to crashing the Mavic one time when I took off from the top of the combine when we were actually demoing that 680 out here last year alongside the 690 that we run. And I took off, and one of the propellers accidentally clipped one of the radio antenna, and I seriously thought the drone was just going to go, and then it finally stabilized itself at the last second, and I got it up high enough out of the way. And but yeah, it's hard to tell. At least I can smile and laugh about it at this point, so that's the bright side of it, that I found it, and I'm pretty sure, at least I'm confident enough that it's salvageable at this point, so that's good. Well, Dad's back over here spraying. He had to go and drop some more beans off to another customer, and he's back over here spraying, and he brought another box of beans back for me. I don't know why he didn't dump 2 in there, but I guess he just dumped 1. So, because I know I'm gonna need at least 2 for this 80 acres here on what we call the church field. So he's finishing up right now. He's got about another round or 2, and then he'll be done. And I'm just gonna keep on chugging along here and see about how much I can get done today. I mean, it's already almost 3 o'clock. Between screwing around trying to find that drone and having issues with that shaft back there, all I can say is at least I found the drone, and at least I can look back and laugh on it at this point. Otherwise, if I didn't have it right now, I would not be a happy camper. So if you follow me on Snapchat, you probably heard me talking about this, but for those of you that don't, those dark green strips out there, or those areas out there that, well, you guys can see it better out there, those spots out there, those strips out there that the rye is a little bit taller, that is where we actually ran the anhydrous applicator when we side dress nitrogen or ammonia in the summer. and that basically indicates to us that the corn did not utilize all the nitrogen out here, which is quite shocking because we had some pretty good yields out here, especially over there on the sand, some of the best yields we've actually ever seen, not including 2018. 2018, the corn was over there in the north half, and we had some pretty exceptional yields over there. But we had the best yields we've ever had on this side because we had corn on this side last year down here, and like I said, we had some pretty exceptional yields on the sandier half because that is the heavier half on the heavier soil over there. But this side is a lot more sandier, and basically there's quite a few spots out here where the corn did not utilize all the nitrogen out here, so we might have been putting on a little too much. There's spots out here where the outside row on the anhydrous applicator, it seems to be showing up in all the cover crop fields though, seems to be putting on a little bit more nitrogen than what, more anhydrous than what we have the entire applicator set at. So at least that's something that we can look at in the future. But like I said in previous videos, we are switching to running 28 instead of anhydrous. Start green strips might end up going away then with us going to 28 and increasing our overall efficiency as far as nitrogen utilization due to how we are going to be applying our 28. We're not going to be applying it the typical way of knifing it in. I'll explain later on in a future video, probably next week. All filled up with beans, and I'll have to get more beans eventually here. There should be at least one more box that goes here, and then some bags to finish it. I'm going to try and get this done tonight. It's going to take another, monitor's telling me about 4 hours. I would say about 5 hours, including fill-ups, so it'll be around 10:30 by the time I get this done. It's 5:13 right now. So what I'm going to do is, there's a triangle field right here. It's just about a 3-acre triangle field. Before I filled up, I wanted to get the drill planted down the best I could. One, so I could shut the drill down a little bit because these 27A17s are 3,000 seed size. So I needed to adjust that. I want to get all these odds and ends done while it's still light out. That way it's easy to do a lot of this stuff because some of these patches out here, it's pretty hard to do at night. So I want to get those done while it's still light out. And then all I got to do is just do the center part of this church field and hopefully get this knocked out sometime tonight. 65 acres yet to go. Sun has officially set and I am just over halfway, and this is actually going to be my final pass for this evening. I'm going to end up quitting for the night, and Dad needs some help with some stuff, so I've got about just under 40 acres left, so that will be finished up tomorrow morning. Kind of sucks. I was really hoping to run a little bit at night to see how the LEDs do on the tractor. Well, I am headed up to the seed tender right now. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. And thank you guys again for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.